Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv, and today we're going to be shooting out a couple of different entry-level interfaces. The Focusrite Scarlett, the Behringer interface with 4 mic inputs, and also something a little bit bigger, a Mackie board with a FireWire option. These are ways that you can start up a studio. You can certainly make great recordings with these interfaces, but I want to just kind of compare them both sonically and also the feature set as well. So let's get started. Okay, so probably the oldest of the bunch here is the Mackie board. It's simply a live sound mixer with a FireWire card in the back. These have the ONYX preamps. They sound pretty good, and it's just meant as a really easy way to record into the computer. This is great. You know, it has a line out on the back or a direct out on the back, so you're able to use really any converter that you'd like, or you can use the built-in one. You can also, of course, use it as a live soundboard. So if you have to record a show, this could be a great option. Now you have line inputs 3 through 8, and then you have additional 4 stereo pairs. So you have 16 channels of recording. This could be a great option if you have external preamps. You can easily plug into these line inputs or use the built-in preamps. Overall, this is a pretty good option. It gives you some flexibility for preamps, but it doesn't have many outputs. There's really only 2 outputs for your monitor left and right. This means if you want to do any reamping, you're kind of stuck. You pretty much have to go down to 1 monitor to be able to pull it off. Now, the aux sends are a little bit different. Those are for live inputs, so you really don't have any way to play them from your computer. You can, of course, make headphone mixes with this mixer. That's not a problem. It really comes down to being able to play sources out of your computer into outboard compressors and EQs, and then finally do any sort of reamping that you like. The next interface is the Focusrite Scarlett. This is definitely one of the more newer, shiny options out there. It's certainly a very popular option. It has 4 microphone inputs on the front. Also, those are line level inputs, and they're also high Z inputs. So it seems to be that these inputs are smart. So it knows whether it's a guitar input or a line level input that's balanced. Of course, on the back, we have 4 additional line inputs. Now this box is nice. It has MIDI. It has 2 headphone amps. It has a large knob for the monitor control, and then it has 2 outputs for your monitors. Now the final interface that we're talking about today is the Behringer interface. It's 4 channels on the front. It'll do line level, it'll do high Z. Then it's also 4 outputs on the back, which is really nice, okay? So that way we can run monitors, we can run headphone amps out, we can run reamp sends out. And then it also has MIDI, it has XLR for monitor and 1/4 inch for monitor, and in general the knobs are easy to reach. I said more so than the Scarlett. The Scarlett has a little bit of a lip and an overhang to reach those knobs and to turn them, whereas the Behringer, they stick out a little bit more, and frankly they're just easier to operate and to turn when you're adjusting volumes and really trying to do your work on a computer. Okay, so all these units can do 4 channels, so let's let it rip on a Glyn Johns setup on the drums, and then some reamped parts as well. Let's check it out. First up is the Mackie. So a few final thoughts on these units. I really like the fact that the Scarlett can take up to 8 inputs. This is great for recording drums, but I really don't like the fact that the software never really worked. I have no control over what the performer is actually hearing, and I have no way to monitor what I'm recording. There's also no indicator on the preamp for line level or high Z, and I really would like a little bit more gain out of a preamp. The Behringer interface is actually much smaller than the Scarlett. I really like this feature set, even though it's just 4 channels. You have high Z input, you have pad, and you have a lot of gain in each of those preamps. You also have the ability with an adapter to have inserts and multiple outputs. One disappointment for this Behringer box is that it's not +4 line level. And it's not clearly marked in the manual either. And instead of just saying, hey, we're at the -10 standard or the +4 standard, it's done more so in terms of headroom, which kind of leaves you to do a lot of assumption of like, okay, this seems to be like it's a -10 line level standard here. There is no software for this unit, but there is an onboard mix knob that you can control the live microphones to the playback signal. The Mackie is great, but it's huge. It's definitely overqualified for a basic unit, but this is something that you might be able to find on the used market. It's a great option if you need lots of different features. Now for the sound of the units, I think that the Scarlett really wasn't quite as dynamic and quite as clear as the other 2 units. The Mackie had a little bit more of a boutique sound to it, while the Behringer had a little bit more of a clean sound to it. Really, between these 3, there are differences, but it's not going to hold you back in creating a great recording. So from here, it's really how you place the mics and how the player performs. I'd love to know if you have any questions. Be hanging out in the comments below.